Alibaba and Jack Ma were covered in the book as well because there was a lot of competition between
You can't
those.
mention Tencent and not mention Alibaba. You have to have both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, honestly, like my takeaway after hearing those stories of Alibaba versus Tencent was that Tencent did it better and ended up winning a lot of those battles. Like WeChat Pay, and I don't know how much they've won that versus Alipay, but I think they did good with that. And then like there was a company, I think it was Meituan, where it was either Meituan or Didi, where it was first with Alibaba and then it ended up with Tencent.
Right.
How did you
The
feel
Epic
about
Group,
that?
yeah.
How did you feel about that competition? Did you feel like Tencent was winning over and over, or do you think my recollection was a little off there?
Yeah, I mean, both the founders, Pony Ma and Jack Ma, it kind of shows that, their strategies are very different. With Alibaba, you could see that the company wanted a lot more control. Wherever they were investing, they wanted to
Yes.
have a say so in how the company was going about. But with Tencent, it's more like a Berkshire model where they have money invested and they kind of let the entrepreneur do what the entrepreneur needs to do.
And move
So
fast.
move fast. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So that level of control was a big factor that led people to picking, okay, I would rather take Tencent on as an investor or Alibaba. So
That's a great point, and that was definitely one of the recollections from the book as well. These stakes that they made in some of these businesses, now they're starting to divest from them, and they're turning into like serious amounts of money. So why don't you just talk about that a little bit with, I think it's Meituan that's coming up.
yeah, I mean, JD was in 2021, I think. And then more recently, we had Meituan. So both these stakes, JD was kind of the landmark deal that they had in 2014. And for them to divest, like, I think it was close to $16 billion worth of JD stock. It's a huge bite
Yeah.
out of their investment portfolio. And of course, that's been done to like appease regulators, and it's easier to kind of divest a small piece of the business rather than just, again, killing off a whole larger chunk of the business. So we don't know, and that's kind of where the uncertainty comes with Tencent today. Like, what is their plan moving forward? Are they going to divest some more? Are they going to invest money into other areas where maybe the capital allocation has not been the same as what they've done in the past? That's a big question for today. How do you see that? Like, I mean, do you see it in a similar way, or do you have any other take on that?
Well, I don't know I don't know how much of these, the divesting they're doing is because they think it's a good time to sell those businesses and the best use of the capital versus trying to keep a lower profile in China, given the regulatory environment, and not trying to get a reputation of like, hey, they're in everything or they're too big. I tend to think it's got to be influenced by the latter. So, but it is just what it is. I don't have the exact market cap in front of me. I think it might be somewhere around 400 to 450 billion dollars, I think. I could be off there, but just to give you a scale of like how important that portfolio is, in their most recent quarterly report, that portfolio was worth 123 billion dollars, and the 75 of that was listed companies that are on stock markets around the world, and then 48 billion was investments in private companies. And that's kind of where you're like, well, what are those private companies? How much are they worth? Where are they going? That's where I'm like, I don't know. If I was to invest in Tencent, it's just kind of trusting Pony Ma. I think Rob Vinal had an interesting line in one of his recent letters, which he puts out there. I think he said something like he thinks the portfolio inside of Tencent will be bigger than the market cap one day.
That's
and
where I stand too.
the rest of the business is potentially free. So, or that I'm paraphrasing there, but how do you feel about the portfolio? And when you look at investing in Tencent potentially, like how important is that portfolio to your investment decision?
I mean, holding Tencent is pretty much like holding a ETF on China, and kind of on growth globally. It's like a better version of ARK, almost. Um, so I mean that's kind of how I also see it. And we're able to get that at a huge discount right now because of factors that really have little to do with the actual business, but more so the narrative and everything else that we're seeing around it.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. It does look like their market cap is like a little under 450 billion. So you take that 123 billion out. Yeah, it's an interesting situation. I guess, like, what else is there to talk about with the story of Tencent? Um, there's definitely the video games were huge.
Yeah,
Again, number one video game company in the world by revenue, and I don't think a lot of people know that the maker of Fortnite is owned to some extent by Tencent.
40%.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're owned, and then I don't know the name, but one of the biggest video game companies,
Epic. Yeah,
Epic. Yeah, but there's another one that's just like
Epic
totally
Games.
owned by Tencent. Um,
They
is
started developing games in-house at some
Yeah,
point. So I mean, that was again kind of their big leap. Okay, we have this core competency in software. We're going all in into gaming.